forms in your website project. If you are running, it could be a personal project. I'll recommend to use test it on your personal project. So basically, instead of having a database to store your perhaps user review, user messages, you can have Google Forms to store that information for you. So what I'm going to show you, I'm using React to do this. So basically you have to start with of course creating your Google Forms. In this case I'm only getting first name, last name and email. And then when you do that, you go to options, then you go to preview. It will open in this form. This is how your user will be able to view your form. So you open in preview, and then you go and inspect, then you go to network. So here it shows the responses, the form traffic, this form network. So for example, if I enter my name here, Sanga, then last name, then I'll have an email, makeup email, like that. Then send. So you see it shows that we have, of course, a response has been recorded. So what you do is you come here, the first line showing form response. So you click on that, it will bring this window here. So here you see the request URL, and then at the bottom there are values that we're looking for. Form data, we are looking for these three values there. So you're gonna use this in your code. That will act, these will act as maybe your API to send your URLs to send information to Google Sheets. So in the code, this is a React code for those who are familiar with React or JavaScript, to be easy to follow through. So basically I have a function, the sign up function, which will be picking my information and all that. So in this function I'm using states of first name, last name, email variables, which are set to first name, then last name is set to last name and email in that way. And then have these function events that will update the information into these variables. So in my submit function, which will now do the submitting of the information, I'm using the variable contact form URL to store the URL. This URL is coming from the form URL, which is here. So you just paste this URL, that's the one which is there, and then these values. So if you notice, this contact URL is in the fetch there, fetch function. I just using the variable to just reduce on that, and in case you want to change that, you can still reuse the code just by simply changing this. And then, so I'm using this, the URL is set there, of course no spaces, and then I put the entry dot the number, which is this one for the first name, and then append the variable there, first name, last name, same with the email. So basically this is just these entries here I'm using to put on, to append there for the first name, last name, as well as email. Then inside here I'm using, of course, the post, the method post there. Then inside I have my text fields, 3 of them, which are those. And then there's this function on change function. So this on change function is simply in the text field when something is when the user inputs something in the text field, whichever on change function we are calling. In this case, the first name on change, you update the set first name, and then the set first name update the first name, and then the first name is now in our URL API some sort. Yeah, so basically you just do that to your input form text fields in this case. Then the button here, submit button, of course, when click submit, we are calling upon this function which now sends our data. So to demonstrate this, okay, I'm already running this. So if you come to this form, so Luna Sky, Luna is my dog and Sky is also my dog. I have two dogs. So Luna Sky, Luna at Sky, that's their email address, it's a made up email. So when I click send, submit, of course it's not reloading. I've entered the refresh function, which should refresh and erase what's there so that the forms are empty again. But then I just click on return. I think I've used this name before. Let me just add Luna 1, Sky 1, then submit. So when we come to our form, we see that we have Luna 1, Sky 1 in the entries with the email lunasky.com. So if you come to this form as well, I'm pretty sure it should appear here. So we have 69 responses. Yeah, we have Luna there. Where's Luna Sky? Individual responses. Okay, so there are so many, we won't go through anyway. So it will be easier to just check through your Google Sheets. In this case, to be easier to just check the data through your Google Sheets. So basically that's it. So this is using Google Sheets of your database in a website. It's actually very easy. Yeah, I don't know how you'd want to use it, but it's something you can try out.